94.9 Bermuda. Hour 95.
It's now time for a motion to adjourn with MP Chris Famous and Dwayne Robinson. Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of, what do we call this?
Motion to adjourn. How long you been away? Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
See.
Welcome back, Dwayne.
Thank you. Welcome back to you.
Yeah. So anyway, today is August the 5th. No, sorry, it's the 12th.
Yeah, don't take me back because I'm trying to.
Yeah. Today is August the 12th. And today we have an exceptional guest. You want to tell us what today's topic is, Dwayne?
So today we're with the minister. Can you remind me of the title? Because I know Miss Tanae Furbert, but I want to get the correct title.
Mrs. Tanae Furbert.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In your mouth is Mrs. Tanae Furbert.
I know. And you know she's one of my favorites. So
Minister of Social Development
there you
and
go.
Seniors.
Yes.
All right. So today we will be discussing what?
Aging well. Aging at home.
Mm-hmm. What else?
And senior care.
Okay. Yeah, so today's topic, all of us, most of us, many of us will get to be seniors.
Some of us closer than others.
And as we know, we have an growing number of persons over the age of 65.
Mm-hmm.
Our population census tells us that 25 to 30% of our population are over 65. So what does that mean? That means that medications are working because people are living longer,
Yes.
right? People are taking care of themselves, so on and so forth. So we have a growing population. And as such, we have to take care of people from the cradle to the grave. And our Minister of Social Development and Seniors is MP Tanae, Honorable Minister MP Tanae Furbert.
Yeah.
Right. And she will be speaking with us today about some initiatives that the government, her ministry, have been doing for that growing population of Bermudians. And from the response that I got from sending out the WhatsApps is that many people are tuning in. So she's going to give a presentation on 3 points. And then sometime later, we'll be taking calls from persons. So without further ado, please introduce our guests.
We'd like to give a warm welcome to Minister Tanae Furbert. I believe she's on the line right now. How are you?
I'm good. I always enjoy listening to Motion to Adjourn. So it's a pleasure to be in your presence this afternoon and everyone who's listening.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. I don't know if you remember, I actually I spoke to you at one of the youth forums.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, we kick into the topic at hand.
You want to tell her exactly what you said earlier?
One of his favorite. I heard that.
No. Something he said earlier than that.
I missed that.
Listen, I'm gonna say it, but we can't record it, so you gotta hit the button. But I said if I had spoke to Minister Furbert any longer, I might have put a green shirt on. But
somebody cut his mic.
Yeah. Somebody cut it. But thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
And I know it's an important topic and a very important ministry, so thank you for taking time to join us on the radio. So really, we want to be as informative as possible. So we really just hand it over to you to really kind of impart that information onto the seniors who are tuning in to let them know what has been going on in your ministry and what they might look forward to.
Sure. So I do want to say good afternoon to all the seniors that are out there listening. And just to let you know that we appreciate you and we are here for you. And I was listening to you earlier in the script in regards to we will all we'll all age one day, and I think that is very, very, very important because when I sometimes speak to persons who are, at the age of 50, and we're talking about things that people may need as they age. People say they want to first say, oh, I'm not part of that. I'm not that age yet. I'm not part of that group. I'm not part of that category, and it is important to note that, yeah, someone mentioned about technology or medication that is out there that is allowing us to live a lot longer than what we anticipated. I have a constituent. I want to say happy belated birthday to Mr. Brownie Place, who turned 105 this year, and I
Wow.
believe there's someone out there that turned 107.
Wow.
So I could not imagine living to be 107, but with the grace of God, hopefully, many of us can reach to live to see 105 and 107, and us being at a healthy place as well. And I think that's important when we speak about aging, is that we want to be able to, like you said earlier, Dwayne, age well, right? So I think that's the first premise that I think we should talk about when we speak of aging, because I can imagine aging and then us having all sorts of ailments or health concerns. Just makes it that more difficult and challenging for us as we age. So it's important that we try to take care of ourselves, take care of our bodies, watch the things that we consume, and the things that we do or involve our bodies in, so that we are able to live a life of longevity, but healthy as well.
Definitely. Just because I know a lot of seniors, as you know, a lot of our seniors are quite independent, and if they could, they would reside at home
Yes.
permanently. So, I know a lot of seniors have tuned in today probably to hear about what ways in which, the ministry will assist them at aging at home and, being able to stay in their own residence and be somewhat independent even later on in life.
Sure. So actually, back in 2020, under the Ministry of Public Works, Minister Colonel had introduced a loan initiative, which actually falls under the Bermuda Housing Corporation. And this loan initiative is something for persons who are over the age of 50. I saw commentary because we've been talking about this quite a bit, and persons say, "Oh well, if someone's aged and they can't afford a loan," but it is actually a child of an older adult can also apply on their loved one's behalf for this loan, and so it is an interest-free loan that is being run through the Bermuda Housing Corporation. For the amount of, it's up to $15,000, where any senior or even any person with a disability can apply to home renovations. So what we find is that many of our homes have stairs, or many of our homes, our Bermuda homes, have very small openings. And it should be, like a maximum of between 34 or 36 inches of doorway space to be able to ambulate or use a wheelchair through if anyone's having to use a wheelchair. And even equipment, right? So if people need equipment to assist them at home, we're talking about things like grab bars, those sorts of things, or ramps, to make the area a little bit more accessible. Then that support is there through the Bermuda Housing Corporation through an application process. And so that is an awesome initiative for any of us to think of when we're looking at aging at home and aging in place. So one of the things that we find is that persons who find themselves in hospital, in long-term care in the hospital, sometimes it's difficult to get back home if they do not have the proper accommodations or modifications or accessibility in their home. And so it's very challenging for them to return back home due to those limitations. But we're hoping that people do take up this opportunity to take advantage of the interest-free loan that is being done through the Bermuda Housing Corporation, and they can make their homes accessible not only for their aged loved one, but also as they age as well, right? So it's something that's supposed to be seamless over time, so that anyone can take advantage of it as they age. So and that's a little bit about the interest-free loan that we are providing for our seniors as well as persons with disabilities.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
I have a question for you, Minister.
Sure.
How many persons? Well, I should say. Let's just say there are. I'm just throwing out a wild figure here. Let's say there are 100 persons living at home, or aging at home, and 100 people apply. What capacity do we have for providing for how many persons?
The capacity, good question. I'm gonna have to look that because I don't have that information with me. But I believe the capacity is pretty high, and it is something that rolls over every year. So say that they didn't qualify this year, then we'll look at we just want people to use this first, famous MP famous. We want people to use it and take advantage of this first, because the last check that I did, we had only used up about, I think it was about 50,000, and I believe there was a much higher budget. I think it was about 500,000 in the budget to be used up for this. And so we want people to actually use this. So I don't want to throw 100. We want people to apply. We want people to apply so that this money that has been allocated for this purpose is actually being used.
And how exactly do they apply? For those who are listening right now, how do they say, how can I apply for that?
Sure, they can actually contact the Bermuda Housing Corporation. Let me just get that number. Or they can also go online to www.bhc.bm, and the application is actually online as well. But let me just get the number for persons who may not be computer savvy, because they can definitely call in to get information. And that number is, you're going to write it down, 295-8623.
295-8623.
And there's also an email, which is info@bhc.bm.
Do they, when they call that number, are they asking for someone specifically?
So they can call that number and ask to speak to someone who can help them with the senior or this person's with disability loan.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. And for me, I remember, I don't want to take you out of your purview, but I remember that we had a lot of seniors who were, kind of left in the hospital. I don't want to use the word abandoned, but, we have a lot of seniors who are in the hospital right now, kind of, or at least that's how it was when it was reported way back. And I guess just an update on that and how we might mitigate that to assure, that they get taken care of and not kind of left.
So I think what some of the concern is that families do not feel, they may not feel comfortable with taking care of a loved one. Anyone knows that if someone's experiencing a health condition or a new condition, it can be nerve-wracking. And, for a family member to have to care for someone, change incontinence pads, or having to move someone from one surface to another, having to move them from a wheelchair to a bed, these things can be very nerve-wracking, right? Because you want to be able to provide safety for our senior loved ones as well as yourself. And so if persons are uncomfortable with that, or they don't have the funds to be able to make the home accessible or have the supplies or equipment in place like they do in the hospital to make their loved one comfortable, then it can be a difficult transition. And so that training with family members, first of all, before anyone can leave the hospital, they have to be stable, right? Their health has to be stable, and so I think that's most important. But I just wanted to remind families and even seniors that there's a whole team at the hospital that can assist with what we call discharge planning. And the hospital does an amazing and excellent job with helping persons to transition back home. But sometimes family members or even seniors need to speak up a bit about what that transition process may look like, even before they're even talking about discharge, because it's important to be able to plan and to figure out, whether or not they could afford certain pieces of equipment or afford to make renovations to their home, and then also ask for training while they're in hospital, if they need assistance with learning how to lift someone, learning how to use a hoist, learning how to use a hospital bed. Those are important sort of things to ask about and to make sure that you feel comfortable with before you actually leave the hospital. Just make someone feel a little bit more comfortable when someone leaves. And then also sometimes persons or seniors who live with their children or other family members, those family members are still working. And so I don't know if you've heard of that sandwich generation, where we have older parents and we are having to take care of our older parents, plus we're having to take care of our children at the same time. And so trying to juggle that time, it can be very difficult. And so sometimes someone may need a caregiver in the home to assist a senior while we're out at work. And so that's also an important piece as well, being able to find a caregiver and someone who you feel comfortable with and someone who's suitable to take care of your loved one. So.
Yes, thank you for that. As we know, one of the biggest expenses for seniors is probably medication and healthcare.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't know if it falls under yourself or the Minister of Health.
It actually falls under the Minister of Health. Yes.
But
Okay, I have a question that came
Yeah.
in. Good evening. Where can one get training post leaving the hospital? In other words, I guess the loved one is already home.
Sure. So any sort of outpatient therapy center service can provide training. If you call and you call any sort of therapy practice and you say, I just want to learn how to transfer mom at home safely, then if you call one of those places, they should who specifically help. I don't want to name places over the phone, but there are some places out there that can assist with teaching persons how to handle anyone who has limitations. So if they call or if you want to call my office, I can share that information. The office number is 444-2466. But there are many places out there. If they call and ask for that support, they should be able to help.
Can you say that number again, please?
Sure, 444-2466.
444-444.
Sorry, 444-2466.
Okay.
Yeah.
these damn folks, they have trouble sometimes. Look at them. You can't see it, but you can feel it. But just also to just ask, just something general.
And then I just want to there's also
Yeah.
some handling, we call patient handling. There are tons of resources online in regards to patient handling as well. And I have to say that every person, how they move is different, and what they feel comfortable with handling and transfer is different. I speak to many families who have their own rhythm and their own sort of style when it does come to handling someone or moving someone. And so people definitely have to know what works best for them. So.
Yes, definitely. Just maybe a bit of a general thing as far as, with this pandemic, how do you personally in your travels and things felt that it's impacted the seniors?
I believe that it's impacted our seniors the most because if you remember, um, we had we had listed our seniors or persons who were over the age of 65 as a vulnerable group. And so instructions were given very early on in the pandemic in regards to safeguarding our seniors being a vulnerable population. And so I do feel as though, they were definitely the ones who were inside probably the longest, as well as, and may have experienced, social isolation for some. And so, it's important to safeguard our seniors being the most vulnerable. But I have to say that I believe the Ministry of Health has done an excellent job with that, particularly in our nursing homes, particularly with the vaccination rate that we do have with our seniors. I think we've handled that area pretty well, but we still want to remind our seniors to stay safe, and to remember all of those universal precautions, those safety precautions in regards to hand hygiene, sanitizing, masking, mask wearing, and maintaining a proper distance from family members or friends. That information is still very relevant and very important.
Well, thank you for that. We're going to actually take our first break, and we'll be right back with you, Minister.
Okay, great.
Now back to Motion to Adjourn with MP Chris Famous and Dwayne Robinson.
And welcome back. So we definitely invite callers to call in on if they have any questions for the minister currently, and we can kick back in. Minister, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still with you.
Tell him the number.
I always let my Uncle Dawn say the number because he just throws it right out there.
What's it? Oh, 292
There you go.
9595.
Thank you.
Call right now.
See that? I couldn't beat that.
Does it so well, right?
See?
Put
Real
some bass in your
suave.
voice, son.
Real suave, yeah.
I can't fight the genetics, man. But yeah, so if you have any questions, please call in. But just more so about, I guess, with yourself, how has it been in this role, during the pandemic? I mean, as a current cabinet minister, getting that insight into how this role must have amplified at a time like this.
Sure. Making sure that government was putting in social protections for our people at all age groups. It's been a very tough journey for many, for all of us, in learning new information and trying to adjust to new information, and so it's been a journey, I'm sure, and challenging for many of us, and it's still feel we're still going through it. So we're just gonna have to hang in there and stick in there and continue to pray for one another. That I do believe that we will get through this, but it has been a very challenging time.
And in your opinion, from sitting in the driver's seat, what would you say is probably the main things that are impacting aging well in this country currently? Well, island, sorry, to be specific.
I believe, particularly as it related to the pandemic, with I don't know if you've ever experienced not being able to leave your house, but people experience all sort of anxieties or social emotional concerns as it relates to those things. And to me, the mental wellness piece is a huge piece that we have to keep our eye on, and being, social isolated comes with, we noted that there were instances of sorry, I don't want to say senior because I'm sure it affected all demographics in regards to instances all over actually the globe. I just don't want to speak to Bermuda where there was instances of increased abuse, domestic abuse, increase in neglect. There's were some things that we had to seriously consider. Where there if someone's living with their abuser, then you just couldn't leave. And so I think particularly during the pandemic, that social emotional hotline was a huge element, and I'm hoping that many people did take the opportunity to be able to use that if they felt that they were experiencing some sort of anxiety or depression or concern for their mental health well-being, or even social isolation, right? So I think that was a huge, and I'm thankful that we had that that emotional hotline for people to be able to use.
I agree.
Yeah.
With the Delta variant on the rise, is there any sort of red flags or any sort of increases in precautions for seniors that you think may be coming down the pipeline, or do you feel currently that even with this new intensive strain that the protections in place will hold?
Well, what I'm hoping is that people have not lost sight of what those protections were and are. They still remain, and that people will still be very vigilant in how we felt before. I think we've become a little bit more lax. Not using washing our hands the same way we were before, or sanitizing the way we were before, or cleaning the way we were before, and those sorts of habits or behaviors should be maintained, particularly, especially for seniors who take care or love to see their grandchildren, right? Because we do know that the Delta variant is also affecting the demographic of young children. And we do know that young children like to spend time with their grandparents, right? And sometimes grandparents do play a major role in the care of children, grandchildren. And so to still remain vigilant in regards to our interactions with others and making sure that we're maintaining those safety precautions that, we had when we first learned about the coronavirus.
Definitely. I totally agree. And I feel like, with the pandemic fatigue, it's really the seniors that, have been reminding me, at least in my job,
Yeah.
hey, back up a little bit, hey, so I think that the
Life
still
is
in it.
important, Life is life is important. Nobody wants to be unwell and suffer, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, and it's the economic side too. I mean, we know Bermuda is not an easy place to live in financially. So
sure.
Even in that regard, I think that interest-free loan is going to help a lot of people if they decide to utilize it.
Yeah.
Hopefully they do. Just in regards to now, I know this was an old topic, but age of retirement. So I might be out of date, but I'm not sure if it was moved to 68 now. Famous?
I believe it was 67.
67. Do you think that that age of retirement will move up, like in the light of current things, that people are living longer, and you're having people who can't afford to retire? What do you think? Anything in?
I think that any employer, if any employer should consider that each and every age demographic, if you're able to work, adds value to a place of employment. And if that employer is still, doing their thing and can still do their job and get their job done, then they should be given an opportunity to stay on. You also know that our our demographic of particularly young persons find themselves unemployed as well, and so it also begs the question in regards to, well, if we keep seniors on longer, whether or not we're taking jobs away from younger people. And I think that, and we all have value in the workplace. We should be able to always mentor our younger people in the workplace. But 65 is not, it's still young to me.
Oh, famous is
And
happy to hear that.
so is 67, and people need to have something to occupy their time and their day so that it can feel meaningful. And so I think that change is important. I believe that was implemented within government, and I'm hoping that the private sector picks up on that as well.
I have a question for you, Minister. Um, I know a lady. She earns or runs a seniors home, I guess you would say. And she says every day she's getting calls for persons looking to try to get some of the parent or loved one into the senior home. And I spoke to someone else, and they were basically saying we don't have enough facilities for seniors, like long-term care or end-of-life care, however you want to put it. And what, in your opinion, how many, if this is true, no, is this true? Number one, that's the first question. And number two, how many more facilities or beds do you think we need in our country to accommodate those who would like to get in a seniors home?
Sure. So if we look at the approximation of seniors between about 9,000, and we have I think it's about 18 nursing homes, I want to say. So we do have quite a bit of nursing homes that are out there currently, but the sizing of those nursing homes as far as capacity is probably smaller, because the expense of running a nursing home is also very, very, very costly as well. We do know that there is a need. And we know there is a need because when you, like you said, famous, for someone to call a nursing home, they'll probably learn that the bed space is at capacity. And so, there are more homes coming on board. COVID has delayed a lot of, people's plans in regards to nursing home building or the development of nursing homes. But there are some that are coming on board. I'm sure we probably would never know the number in regards to how many beds that we would know how many beds we would need. If you take alone the hospital, then how many people the hospital have in there. I'm sure they can also be moved out of the hospital into the nursing home bed space. But give me a minute because I have that information actually. See if I can find it. Let's talk about something else while I look for that.
So, okay, let's talk about Conti game. No.
Well, if folks want to call and have any questions for the minister, 292-9595, we're here. That's what we're here for.
We're here to inform you. And let's talk about careers in senior care. How many do you find a lot of Bermudians are into in the field of taking care of seniors?
Yeah, there are quite a few Bermudians in the field of taking care of seniors. I mean, it's so many different vast professions that we can talk about, particularly nursing care. You have your nurses assistants. Actually, our schools actually allow our students to participate in nursing programs, nursing assistant programs. I believe the last year of high school. And so, there are programs that are encouraging persons to go into those fields so that we have more people we still don't have enough though. We don't have enough nurses, and we don't have enough nursing assistants. And I believe that any of the nursing homes would say that, particularly if any of their staff members had to be quarantined or came down with COVID, having to find someone to fill those shoes was very difficult to do. So we always can use more. Anyone who's interested in the nurse's assistant or becoming a nurse's assistant, please reach out to the Bermuda College so that you can be provided with information on how to get that designation. But it's definitely a need, and with our growing population of seniors, it will continue to be a need. So.
Yeah, I met a young man today, and we were talking, and
we need more men in that field as well.
Yeah, and I said, so what are you doing, with yourself? When I say young, he's like 39, so he's younger than me. But he says, yeah, man, I'm a nursing, I've been a nursing assistant for the last 10 years.
Wow.
And he says, yeah, when I first went in, I thought, this isn't for me. This is just something. I'll just do this just to tide me over for a year. Yeah. And he was like, he's like, doing this, you have a bond with your clients or patients, if you want to say that. And he has no intentions of not doing it anymore. So, the thing is that we have a situation in our country where a portion of persons are unemployed through no fault of the and at the same time we have a host of occupations. That's I'm gonna keep it to medical.
Yeah.
A host of occupations in the medical field that are undersubscribed by Bermudians. As we said earlier, the percentage of seniors is growing.
Yeah.
It's not getting smaller.
No.
All right. So, if someone says, "Hey, go cut that grass," and I'm just using that example, right?
Right.
And you look out there, the grass ain't not gonna grass is never not going to grow.
That's right. So it's gonna grow.
So you're always, if you're into cutting grass, you will always have a job because the grass will keep growing.
That's right.
If you are qualified for senior care, you will always have work because
you will always have work.
Yeah, I know this other lady. She has clients at home that she goes and takes care of them at home, and she's never not got work. Unfortunately, some pass away, but there's always the next one.
Yeah, it's always senior care, and I wonder if, like at the high school level, maybe putting forward kind of a job census or something where it's like, hey, these are careers where you can find, endless work in, and really highlighting senior care to, high schoolers or, even middle schoolers who are getting involved in that, and see if maybe setting up some sort of mentorship might help get folks, because I know coming out of school a little bit more recent than my colleagues there. We're
see, that's ageism, dude. Is there a law against people saying rude things to the seniors?
Yeah, it should be.
It should be.
That's called ageism, Dwayne.
Not with the minister on the line. Come on. But I think coming out of that, I think we find a lot of people are pushed into certain, not pushed, but certain career paths that aren't really supported in Bermuda to a certain extent, or already oversaturated. And I wonder if maybe pinpointing some of these careers that have a shortage of Bermudians and have all this opportunity might help us out a bit with senior care.
Yeah, I think that is important that we do the research in trying to figure out what jobs are out there. What's interesting though is that long-term care is not always people would think an appeasing occupation to go into. I don't know if you remember, but being young and going to a senior's residence, some people just are not comfortable with that setting, and so you have to. And this is why this intergenerational piece is very important. That we remain that. We remain connected to all ages, of persons, so that we people are comfortable with children, that we remain comfortable with adults, and we remain comfortable with seniors, so that we can continue to work with them.
Yeah, and I know I always
Like
say
there's programs in school where you're going and you're visiting the nursing homes. I mean, we can't really do that right now, but those programs were important.
Mm-hmm.
They're important, so that we can figure out, who we like to work with.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
I have a question that's come in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a question and a statement. Question from WhatsApp.
Sure.
Are there many adult daycare centers in Bermuda? And if so, have they reopened? Next question, supplementary. I'll let you answer this, and then I would come with the supplementary question.
So there are daycare programs in Bermuda. Some of the nursing homes have daycare programs. I believe the nursing homes are at phase 3 now. So they have visitors. I'm not sure if the day programs have opened up to more people at this point, but I do know that there are daycare programs, particularly within the nursing or residential homes. But there are also other programs that are just strictly daycare programs as well.
Mm-hmm.
We need more of those. If anyone's listening is interested in doing that, please go for it.
Okay, that was the supplementary. He was asking, is there a need for more?
Yeah.
Now, Dwayne is a politician. You are a politician, right? Dwayne?
Yeah, some might say.
Right. All of us who have canvassed have, if you go over the list of constituents, it tells you the age, it tells you the name, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
All of us have at least 300. Anybody in any constituency, there's at least 300 persons over the age of 65.
Mm-hmm.
Some well in their 80s, right? And what I find with a lot of my constituents is that they are aging at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A
But-
majority of seniors are aging at home.
Right. But the challenge for them is that if they need a caregiver, like for example, some may have suffering from some degree of dementia.
Mm-hmm.
Some may have full mental faculties, but a physical ailment, like they may have fell down and broke their hip, so they can't walk around like they used to. The mobility is challenge. And what I find almost universally is that many persons are now, or not so much them, but their children, or the adult children, the children who may be in the 50s and 60s,
Yep.
are now saying, listen, I need to get somebody into the island to live as a full-time caregiver, because when I hire a local company,
Yep.
the price is costing me like $10,000 a month,
Expensive.
right?
Yeah.
If I put them in a home, if I could get them in a home, it's going to cost me $5,000 to $10,000 a month.
Yep.
And a lot of people are not coming to that realization that, listen, in order for us to take care of mama or daddy or whoever, we're going to bring somebody in. And almost 9 out of 10 times I'm finding when I go back to the home and I, speak to them, they, oh, we got so-and-so in, and it's somebody from the Philippines, right? So my point is that there's this growing, if you go to Linda's, tell you what you do. Go to Linda's on any given day.
I'm not good there.
Just imagine you didn't work for the competition,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
You go to Linda's on any given day. Let's say a Wednesday, 5% shopping day, discount day. right? And you would see the amount of persons that are being driven to Linders, right? And their caregiver, they have the caregiver as the driver, right? So I'm saying that you may know, minister, somebody must have to have these records, but there's hundreds, if not thousands, of caregivers now on this island taking care of our Bermudian seniors, and I mean seniors of old. This
Walks
is
of life.
it ain't like the days where any rich people were hiring caregivers. Everybody's showing to everybody, but many people are realizing it's more economical to just go to what they call that, Department of Immigration,
Yep.
and put in for a work permit to get a caregiver to come in, whether it's someone from the Philippines, someone from the Caribbean, or someone from some other country.
Yep.
But my point is that there are literally hundreds of persons here as caregivers for Bermudians.
Yeah, there are. I mean, I think it eventually comes down to affordability, right? So, if the average going rate for a nurse's assistant in the home or caregiver in the home is about $25, we're talking about approximately $875 a week if we're doing 7 hours a day, and that if we needed that for a month, we're talking about $3,500 a month. So if you consider that in your own wage as a child, or having to consume that cost, particularly if the senior's pension does not, doesn't even touch nowhere near that amount, it can be a very costly venture. And I believe it comes down to affordability. Now, there is future care that assists with what we call nursing assistant or nursing care, as well as personal home care, which is rated at two different rates, personal home care being $15 an hour, and nurses assistant being $25 an hour, but that amount is also capped as well. So families are still having to come out of pocket to be able to afford that, and so for many seniors, their pension is no way near able to cover the cost of a caregiver, and so those sorts of things we have to keep in mind. As if we want somebody to be able to age in the home with assistance of a caregiver. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's these are things as you referred to earlier, Minister, as us as the sandwich generation, right? I mean, my parents, my mother's in her 70s, my father's in his 80s, and they got full capacity, mental capacity, but you can see there are some physical slimming down.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not leaving him, right?
Right.
I'll be always there to take care of him.
There,
well, but when I say I'm there to take care of them, meaning like I'm there, but I still have to work. I still have to come to the radio station. I still have to go out and make sure Dwayne doesn't take my seat. I have to still do these things. So, there comes a point as person, no one wants their parents to die, but the parents are going to get older.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So as our parents get older, they need somebody there to watch them 24/7.
Yep.
So there's same figures that you were talking about earlier. That was just a 7-hour shift.
That's just a 7-hour shift.
So
what
if someone
24 hours?
right, so if it's 24 hours, let's say the person has full dementia, right?
Yep.
They need 24-hour care. So you're now talking about that same
about $7,000, $8,000.
yeah.
And if the person is getting paid more, let's say $30 an hour, we're talking about $10,000. For 24/7 care.
Yep.
So these are the things that we all have to. Is almost it's as important as considering your pension plan. We're gonna get one of our own our own, how can I say, seasoned persons to come in to one of these days and talk about pension plans. But the point I'm driving at is that most of us have a parent still alive,
Yeah.
right? And we have to start planning now to say, how are we going to take care of mama and or daddy or both, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so this thing that you said, your parents may be, you or your parents may be physically able right now. 5 years from now, maybe a different story.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So it goes back to what you was talking about before about take out this interest-free loan and modify your house accordingly.
Yeah. In
Right?
advance.
You may not
in
need
advance.
you may not need that gripper thing
Right
to
now.
handle
Need it
in
right
your
now.
show,
Mm-hmm.
but 10 years from now you may need it.
You may need it. That's right.
This offer may not be on the table. I hate to sound like a used car salesman, but this offer may not be on the table.
Exactly.
There may be a change in government, and they're like, nah, we're not taking care of them seniors. I don't want to end.
Well, I know about that.
I didn't say which government.
Yeah,
You see, you got too excited. My point to the people of Bermuda, our people, is that aging happens every second.
Yes.
And
every day.
the government presently, as you say, I think you referred to the fact that it was undersubscribed before. Minister?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
There's an offer on the table that the government, through the Bermuda Housing Corporation, is providing funding. Was it up to 15,000,
Yeah.
or do you have to
Up
take
to.
up? You have to take 15,000.
No, you don't. No.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be 15,000.
No.
Okay, so you can take up to 15,000 to modify your home accordingly,
Right.
to either accommodate for what you need now or what you may need come down the line. And what I find with a lot of seniors is that, not all, many, is that you'll go to them and go to the house, just, hey, so come on over. And you're like, famous, if I was thinking in the right mind 10 years ago, I'd have did this or whatever it is,
Yes.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
And now they're in a position where the pension is not meeting the expenses. Unfortunately, you have some children who are not conscientious to take care of their parents,
Yeah.
right? I see some people post on Facebook sometimes they might have 4 siblings, but they're the only one taking care of the day. They feel abandoned, right?
Yes.
So there's this host of things that we have to be real with ourselves about, and we have to prepare ourselves now for these things, right? I'm doing a renovation, right? And I called the carpenter, say, what's the width for the standard width of a kitchen door? He said, well, it used to be 32, but no, it's gotta be 36 because furniture ain't fitting through the doors
Yeah.
like before.
No,
My
ain't.
point is back to what you're saying, Minister. Suppose the ambulance has to come for you one day,
That's right.
right? And it's
You're
like
trying to get it through. Yeah, you
yeah,
can.
yeah, you gotta tilt it on the side, bruh.
Hey.
You know what I mean?
It's true. I mean, we've been in that situation in my family. We had to basically carry the senior out.
Yeah.
Just because where they were situated, but you don't tend to think about those things. And when you're talking to seniors, a lot of times I'm not leaving. Don't touch my bed. And Ria's like, no, ma'am, because I mean, she the saucy, right? So you're like, hey, I don't want to get into it with you, but we gotta move some things around to make sure you're situated just in case.
I have another question that's come in. Brother Dawn said that we can go a little bit, couple more minutes past 6. So thank you for your time, Minister.
Sure.
Quarter past if you need.
Quarter past.
Quarter past.
I think he has vested interest in this topic.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting. So folks out there, they need to listen and understand what their recourses are.
So we have another WhatsApp question, and this person says, "Are there programs available for people like us? I don't know, us. People like us having to deal with aging parents." So, what programs, if any, are there for those in the sandwich generation that say, I need to learn how to deal with the situation?
So there is an actual resource online that's part of government's webpage. And it's a long-term care education and training resource. And if they go online, and it's www.gov.bm/long-term care.
Slow down a minute.
Okay,
www.gov
www.gov.bm slash
backwards.
long, and then it's a dash, term dash care dash education dash and dash training.
Oh my dear.
Yes.
Okay. I might just have to, if they ask me, I'm going to say, hey, here's a WhatsApp number.
Yeah, send them the link. Yeah, send me the
Yeah.
link.
So if,
Yeah,
if
send
they
me
just-
the link and I'll post it up on
Okay,
Facebook.
I'll send you the link. But if they also just Google Bermuda Government Long-Term Care Education and Training, it should pop up. But in this on that webpage, it speaks up to the general public in regards to educational events that are appropriate for anyone interested in long-term care or caring with a family member. There's targeted training for family and friends providing care to loved ones, and as well as training targeted at professional caregivers and healthcare professionals. And then there's also long-term management information out there as well. I also want to bring the listening public's attention to a helping service directory. I'm not sure if everyone's aware that we have this out there. There is actually a hard book document if anyone wants to have that. But there's also online www.helpingservices.bm. And those are all the helping services that are available to persons in our community in Bermuda.
Well, thank you for that. I have a slight financial question. Let's say I assume that this interest-free loan is probably geared towards somebody who is a bit younger, taking out the loan in a senior stead, right? So you have some seniors, and I mean, this is from my canvassing experience. It's not as long, but I've come across some seniors who are aging at home, and they're alone.
Yeah.
When it comes to taking out this interest-free loan, obviously comes the tail end of what happens if, let's say, this person is trying to renovate their home, and it's just them, and they take out the loan, but they're at 85, and let's say the payback time. The senior expires, unfortunately, knock on wood, hopefully not, before they're able to pay back this loan.
Yeah.
What happens in that regard?
So with the loan, there has to be guarantors as well. It does have to be guarantors in regard to the loan. But Bermuda Housing Corporation, if anyone's worked with Bermuda Housing Corporation, they do provide many sort of opportunities to be able to pay back to pay back. So they're very, they'll make it very reasonable. That might just be a conversation in regards to how do we move forward with this. So I don't think that they will be very unreasonable in, someone's inability to be able to pay back the loan, given the demographic, the age that we're doing this for. So
yeah, the only reason I ask is because I just come across so many different situations where it's
absolutely. That's a very valid scenario.
Yeah, it's a lady I go take a trash out now and then because she's here with her
No,
children.
and then the trash is every week to me.
Well, I try to
Gotta
get
go
down
every
there and
week
take
to
it.
me.
I try to do. I gotta take trash out too for me, But I try to go down there and help out with some things, and it's because her family's moved overseas, so she's here, and sometimes parents become estranged for whatever reason, So that's the only reason
Might
I
be
was
able
like,
to cut much.
yeah, I could be of that because I don't know if I could tolerate my son liking that blue and blue, but I just wanted to make sure that seniors who are on their own and may not have, let's say, a good relationship or children surviving, that they would have some sort of access to this as well to help their situation or living arrangement.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? We will never know unless we took the opportunity to apply and to figure out what sort of solution Bermuda Housing Corporation or a plan or program can come up with to help them succeed in following through with that, with the interest-free loans. So you have to give it a try.
All right, Minister. Yeah, we're down to the last 5 minutes. So let me ask. I'm going to ask 2 questions, and then I'll make a statement. What I find, and I know this may come across as conflict of interest or whatever, right? Is what I find is that this government, the government that you and I serve, the people, they, in some ministries, there are persons who are very passionate about what they do. For example, you have Minister Lawrence Scott, passionate about transportation,
Sure,
passionate
yeah.
about airlines. You have Minister Diallo Rabin, passionate about education. And it's a good fit because, this is what they love, because I'm sure it's challenging.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you a up close and personal question. Why are you so passionate about seniors? Not saying why, like it's a bad thing. What has caused this passion for you?
It is because I knew that I always grew up. My granny used to send me to Sunday school, and one of the things that I learned was, you do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I know myself, we're all gonna age. I'm gonna age, and it's very important that we have things in place that as we age, that will be beneficial to you as you age. And, government does spend out a huge amount of money. Actually, we did an approximation of about 32 million government actually spends out on housing. And that's not just for seniors. That's across the demographic of persons. But even persons who are in nursing homes and persons who are in residential homes or persons who are in independent living complexes, government does assist quite heftily. About 70% of persons government assists with financially. And so, you always want to be thinking about how are we helping our people, we might not be able to help with everything, but we want to make sure that we can help with something. And, should I ever need, or any of us ever need our government to assist us, we would want to know that government is there to be able to help us. So that's where it comes from, is, doing, having to do for others. I think that's very important. And also recognizing that specifically in social services or social development, that any one of us can find ourselves in a situation where we would need social services or social assistance.
Yeah, and I say this with the utmost respect, not because you're my parliamentary colleague or Robin Hood Corn or anything like that. But there are some people that, like, literally, if they weren't a minister or they weren't an MP or whatever, they would just do this for free. Not saying you're doing it for free or should do it for free, but this is your calling, right? And I say this to the statement I want to make is to the people of Bermuda, right? All of us who are elected are elected by persons of all different age groups, and in Bermuda, it's the senior age group that more likely is going to come out to vote.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So they vote not strictly because this is my party or that's my party, but they vote because they feel or expect. Let me put it this way: they expect those that they vote for to take care of them in their golden years. And what I say is, what I find is that when you go to seniors' homes, not a senior home, but seniors' houses, those are the people that's like, "Hey, Dwayne, come on in, let me give you a piece of my mind," right?
Yeah.
Or they'll be the ones telling you about your family history and stuff like that. So I just want to take a moment just to thank the seniors that no matter who you voted for, no matter which constituency, we appreciate that when we knock on your door that you may not vote for us or you may vote for us, but you deal with us as human beings. And it means a lot. It's a lot when you're out on the campaign trail and you're hot and you're sweating or you're cold or whatever. And somebody says, hey, you want some chocolate? Hey, you want some coffee?
Yeah.
Hey, you want some onions? Right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Mr. Tobin. Yeah, I need some more onions, bro.
Yeah.
Any closing words, Dwayne? Or let Brother Dawn say something.
Just listening intently. I think everyone that is listening, if you're a senior or approaching seniorship, I'm sure a lot of the information that's put forth tonight, take advantage, particularly the loan and so forth.
That's right.
And I just got a shout out from somebody way up the west. They says, and this is a person who works.
Somerset. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So that's a smart person.
Yeah.
And they said, she is wonderful, loves people. And this is a person who's actually, her profession is taking care of seniors. So,
Awesome.
Just passing on your message, right?
Go ahead.
I just want to give a shout out to my Aunt May Smith. I had to go up there and tell her congratulations, and that was kind of the hardest thing I had to do. And I'm going to have to do that for the last 10 years. Any closing words, Dwayne?
Well, yeah, I appreciate you giving us a bit of your time, Minister. As I said earlier, I find you to be extremely genuine, and I think that you're one of the ministers that really are passionate about what you do and the ministry that you hold. So, you have bipartisan support. Let's call it that.
Repeat what you said earlier when we was in here.
I can't repeat it.
But stop it.
Any closing remarks to the people of Bermuda, Minister?
Yes, I do, and I actually want to answer that question that you asked me in regards to numbers.
Mm-hmm.
As far as daycare service programs out there, we do have about 5. So we see that these numbers are lower because we have an approximation of 5 and approximately about 18, 19 residential facilities for our seniors, and that is about 580 persons who we service.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that number.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. But as far as closing remarks, I don't know if anyone has been following the Dementia Care in Bermuda campaign that we have been running. We actually finished it up in July, but we are looking to designate a special radio talk program specifically to engage with our seniors. And so please look out for that, and also look out for other initiatives that we're looking to do for our seniors. We're looking forward to establishing a national senior strategy, something that will benefit all of us. And, of course, strategies and plans change over time as the world evolves, but we're also looking forward to that. So just want to say hello to all of my seniors who play a very, very, very have a very special place in my heart. And just hope that you have a great evening, and you guys have a great evening as well.
Okay.
And thank you. Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Yep. And we'll be back next week. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you.
All right. And so Bermuda, we'll be back next week with whom? Dwayne?
Who's that? Did you tell me?
Yes.
I don't know if you did.
You can get the email.
Yeah. You see what I have to deal with, Minister?
I'm not sure you told me.
She's going off.
Oh, well, let's go over this who we have next week, because we want our people to know. Let's go back, scroll back. Oh, I guess he wants us to say it on air. Congratulations, Dwayne. Your team won.
Oh, your team won. Oh. How do you feel about that?
Well, it was to be expected.
Excuse me.
It was one
Shut
on the
my mouth.
chalkboard.
Shut my mouth. Huh?
Hey, you're talking about my aunt Susan Jackson? Yes, MP Susan Jackson.
Say it with
See?
some gusto.
I'm excited. Of course you know that's mine.
She'll be
You know.
on. What will she be speaking on?
She's gonna be speaking about women in politics. Now
Okay.
we've had I think it was former MP Renee Webb, former MP Pat Gordon Pamplin. So now we're gonna have I think the very first sitting female MP to speak about being a woman in politics. So it'll be a different take to it than and a more current take. Not saying that they're not current. You know what I mean? But yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right,
yeah,
so-
yeah.
Next week, August the 19th at 5 p.m., our special guest will be MP Susan Jackson speaking on women leadership and politics.
Bang.
What? Come stronger than that, bro.
Oh, you want to adjourn?
Yeah.
Well, and we'll be
Motion
adjourned.
to adjourn is adjourn.
See, we gotta get back into the swing of it.
Where's the
See?
gavel? I don't see the gavel.
We're getting right now. Look. Here we go. Ready for it?
Yeah. And thank you very much, guys. Motion to adjourn is brought to you by MP Chris Famous and Dwayne Robinson. Thank you, gentlemen. Safe travels.
You're locked to Power 95, Bermuda's big station at 94.9 FM, a Bermuda Broadcasting Company station.